Welcome back to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm Yusuf, and today I'm joined by Austin Reed, co founder and CEO of Horizon Development, a founder and automation agency, and a digital nomad who has built his business while traveling across more than 26 countries. Austin speaks openly about the mental cost of entrepreneurship, the setbacks that shape you, and why paying your team before yourself might be the most sane thing a founder can do. With that, I welcome my guest Austin to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Perfect. So, Austin, you have talked about setbacks that felt devastating at the time. Without going into anything you're not comfortable with, was there a specific moment in building your business where you genuinely did not know if you were going to make it through?
Yeah, there was a few moments like that. I think everybody who grows a business goes through those moments. I think the biggest moment was when we were switching technologies. So we started out by doing smaller WordPress projects, and we didn't really like them. And we landed a couple of Python, Django projects, and React projects, and we liked those more. So we decided to switch technologies to only do Django and React type of work. And that switch was really hard. It took us about 9 months between the time we did our last sale on WordPress and the time we made a sale for Django and React. And yeah, I mean, it was difficult. There was a time where I had to call my mom. We were all living in Ecuador. Me, my co-founder, his girlfriend, my wife, and our designer. So 5 of us living in the same house in Ecuador. And I had to call my mom for groceries because we didn't have enough money. Thank God, 2 weeks later, we landed a client and everything was okay. But but right at the end there, I had to call my mom for help so that everybody had food. So, yeah.
And Austin, there's this idea that gets passed around in entrepreneurship circles that struggle builds strength, that harder the path, the better you come out on the other side. But I think there's a version of that idea that is actually doing people harm. So, what do you think we have gotten wrong about what setbacks are supposed to do to you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I can only talk from my own experience. A lot of my setbacks, people would think they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's really, really crazy you've been through that." And for me, it wasn't all that crazy. When I was going through the moment, I never really had a moment thinking like, "Oh, I'm gonna give up or quit." A lot of people, they have those moments. I never did. Like, once I left corporate life, I never came back, and I never wanted to, and I just always found a way, even if it was selling the things I had on Facebook just to make rent money, right? Like, I always found a way to make it through. So, what's toxic about that? I don't necessarily think you have to go through hardship to be successful. I do think you have to have failures, but I also think you can fast track that. So if you have like mentors, for example, mentors can teach you their failures. So you learn by proxy and you don't have to experience the same failures that your mentor did because he told you. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree with that because I think a lot of people are in something really hard right now and they're not sure if they are being forced or just depleted. And that uncertainty alone is exhausting.
definitely, definitely. For me, I think if you're not doing what you love, that's a huge thing, right? The one thing that I've always been fortunate is I've always been fortunate to do things I really enjoy doing, right? So I don't take on projects that I don't enjoy. And I think because of that, I've been able to maintain a high level of energy throughout the entrepreneurial journey.
Okay. Let's talk about grind culture because I think it is something you have pushed back on. Most of the messaging around entrepreneurship still glorifies the hustle. The founder who sleeps for 4 hours, who sacrifices everything, who's always building. So, what does that actually cost people? Not just professionally, but mentally.
Yeah, so when we started out, I worked 12, 15 hours a day, every day for a long time. A long time. There were projects. I remember there was this one project we had. They wanted it done over Christmas, and I was losing sleep. I was programming all day and all night, and sleeping for like 2, 3 hours, and then waking up and programming all day. And it was snowing outside, and I was tired, so I go outside without a shirt on to stay awake so I could keep programming. That was a crazy time. I think that I think at the beginning, it's like you kind of have to go through at least a little bit of that if you want to really get the ship off the ground. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily
Yeah.
required. There are paths where like you only need to work 4 or 6 hours a day, but a lot of those paths require that you already have resources. But if you're starting with no resources, like we started, we when we started, we had nothing, right? Like I was pretty poor. Like I didn't really have money or investors or even really a big team. It was just, me and my friends trying to make it, And so yeah, you kind of have to grind through some of those nights. But as you gain resources and as you grow, you start having more leverage on your time because you have more team members around you, you have more money, you have more tools that you can use. And then it no longer becomes, hey, work 12 hours a day, which I mean, you can still do that. I mean, there are things I could do 12 hours a day for my business. I'm not going to lie. But the most important thing, probably you don't need to be doing that for 10, 12 hours a day. Like for me, the most important thing is setting up a like an enterprise level marketing campaign, right? So reaching out to businesses via direct mail, via retargeting ads via LinkedIn and email to like a subset of 1,000 businesses in one industry, right? That is the highest leverage activity I can do. Once I build that campaign and that campaign is going, there's not much else that's super high leverage. Like I can manage projects, I can make content, I can do more outreach or cold calls or this or that, but none of it's really going to drive the needle as much as that one activity, right? So grinding all day every day isn't necessarily as good. And I've noticed that now that I've stepped back a little bit, like I still work 6 to 8 hours a day, depending on the day. Some days I work less, some days I work like 4 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So sometimes I take off, right? It depends. But I notice the more that I have space, the better decisions I make. So it allows me to sit and be more tactical. Also, the feedback loops have gotten larger, right? So whereas before it was like I had to do all the work, so I would sit down, work on the thing would get done, plan the next thing, work on the thing would get. Now I sit down, I have a vision, I tell my team about the team executes the vision, and while they're executing the vision, I am like, okay, now I do my thing. And so then I have to wait for them to finish to get feedback, right? Because I need them to present the work. And so that means the decisions now all of a sudden take longer. Whereas before we could make a decision that would take 2 weeks or a month. Now certain decisions take 2, 3 months to fruition because there's moving parts and we have to wait on them and then this team and
Yeah.
that team to put everything together. Right.
Mm. And for someone who has bought into the story, that who has made it part of their identity, what does it feel like when they start to question it? Because I imagine that is not a comfortable place to be.
Man, you have to learn how to enjoy life again. So before I started this company, I also was working like 12, 15 hours a day on music. And I just got really angry with the world for a minute. And I had to, when I got to Bali, this was just right before COVID, I took a month off, like literally just a month, and I did nothing. And it took me like at first I didn't even know how to like enjoy my life. Like I would go to like a cafe or I'd sit at the beach and I'd be like really anxious, stressed out because I'm not working, you know? And
Mm.
it's like, what is the point of working all day and making all this fucking money if you don't like enjoy your life? You're just gonna lose both. You lose your relationships, you lose your family, you lose your health, you lose your enjoyment and the magic of life, right? And so, like, I talk to a lot of people. I'm like, hey, what's your goal in your business? And they're like, yo, I just want to exit, make $1 million so then I can go sit on the beach and drink a martini. I'm like, why don't you just go sit on the beach and drink a martini now? Like, it's not that expensive. You're already making $10,000, $15,000 a month. Like, you really don't need to wait, bro. Like, so, I mean, it's a conundrum. And for me, like, shifting that mindset was really, really hard at first. It like I had to learn how to relax, and that took months. That took a while. It was not an easy thing, for sure.
And I think that is the quiet crisis that does not get talked about. Not burning out in a dramatic way, but slowly realizing that the way you have been working was never actually sustainable. And you have been calling that dedication.
Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty funny.
Austin, you run a team and you have spoken about paying your team first, even in the hard season. And that's a values statement. But it is also a mental health statement. Like what happens to a founder's world when they consistently put themselves last and what shifts when they stop.
Yeah, I think I built a team for the team. Like, I started rising by accident. Like, I didn't start this company on purpose. It was just me and my friend doing projects. I was just trying to help a friend, and it became a company, right? So I didn't really intend to start the company, but I fell in love with certain aspects of it. I fell in love with sales. I fell in love with programming to an extent. I really like to program, but I also fell in love with the team members. For me, that's really important. And so I now, like, to be honest, bro, I could just stop now and be fine and stop investing in growth and just invest and just maintain what I have and enjoy a really awesome fucking life, and I don't have to work super hard, and that's great, but I don't do that. I like to work, and I work because I really care about my team members, and I wanna foster the dreams that they have, right? So, for example, Andre just had a baby, right? And he's building out a house, and he wants to have a really, really stable job and really, really stable, income for his family. And so that makes me want to work harder because, like, first of all, I've had Andre for like 2.5 years now, which is like a while. Like, I've known him a bit. And I feel for the man. Like, I want to make that come true. Like Lorenzo, he wants to be the leader of a front end development team, you know? And so every chance I get, I try to put him in a little bit more charge because I know that, like, that's his dream. That's what he wants to do. And I know he's ambitious and he tries really hard. And so every couple of months we'll meet up with every single team member and ask them, like, hey, you know, how are you doing? How's your family? What's your dreams? Because their dreams change, right? Like 22-year-old Lorenzo and 27-year-old Lorenzo have different priorities. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I always try to keep in touch with who they are and what they want and how they're doing. And then I try to align the company to foster that because I find them to be important.
You know what I am hearing is that how you treat the people around you is actually a reflection of your own relationship with pressure. And that integrity under financial stress might be one of the truest tests of what kind of leader someone actually is.
Beautiful, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And you build your business as a digital nomad across 26 countries. Most people hear that and think freedom. But I'm curious about the other side. What does that kind of lifestyle actually ask of you mentally? And how do you stay grounded when the context around you is always changing?
Yeah. So the first biggest misconception is if you're gonna grow a business, okay, living overseas, at least coming from a first world country like United States, is a great idea because, like, you're gonna save a shitload of money, like, straight up. Like in the US, you pay like $2,000, $3,000 a month for rent. Here you could pay like $700. Some places you can pay like $200 or $100 for it. Like I've stayed in some very, very cheap countries, right? So in that aspect, like it helps because you have a lot of leverage, because it's like all of a sudden now you only have to pay yourself $400 or $500 a month to live, and everything else you can reinvest in the business. And that's huge, right? On the other side of things, a lot of people think it's cool because you're always traveling and you get to see all these places. And I'll tell you, when you first start a business, you don't have time to see any place, you know? So you go to these
Mm.
cool countries and you work all day, and all you see is your hotel room and maybe a cafe, and that's it, right? So I actually regret some countries in some parts of some countries that I've been to, I didn't get to fully enjoy. Like when I was in India, I went to Rajasthan and I enjoyed some parts of Rajasthan. I went to Aur and that was really cool, but I never got to see the Taj Mahal and I never went to Jaipur. And I would have loved to go and do those things, right? And then when I was in Malaysia, there's this part in Kuala Lumpur called Batu Caves, and I never got to see that because I was so busy working that I never had the time to really go, and I do regret that. And so now when I travel, I always make time to go and do these things, even if it's just 1 day a week, right? Just always get out of my comfort zone and go places, right? Now you're saying, how do you stay grounded? I think changing environments is really, really great time to change habits. So if you're in the habit of like you have a bad habit of like you're waking up late or maybe you're drinking too many energy drinks or you're not going to the gym or like just who knows, just whatever, right? When you move environments, if from the first day you change environments, you change your behavior, it's really easy that that behavior sticks. So I would use
Mm.
changing countries as a way to change my behavior so that I can become the person that I wanna become and remove habits that I don't want. That really helps.
And that is a real skill, isn't it? The ability to not get caught in the loop. And I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, that loop, replaying what went wrong, what they should have done, is where the most energy gets lost.
Yeah, no, I think so. I do think that there is a lot of energy that gets lost in those things, but I don't think being a digital nomad necessarily adds or removes any energy into any business. I think it doesn't really matter where you are. It more depends on how you present yourself.
Austin, for people who want to connect with you or want to learn more about your work, where can they do that?
Yeah, you guys can check out horizon.dev. At the bottom, we have our YouTube channel where we teach other business owners how to do automations and grow their businesses. We have a channel that gets over 100,000 views a month. And yeah, other than that, reach out on LinkedIn.
Perfect. And to everyone listening, all the links in the show notes. So just go and check those out. Austin, is there any
Mm.
last message that you want to pass with?
Um, yeah, I mean, just do what you love, don't give up, and the universe will give back.
Okay. Austin, thank you so much. This conversation, I think a lot of this needed. And probably a few people who aren't even founders, but have been living like they are. They needed this conversation.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're most welcome. And to everyone listening, you are allowed to build something that does not cost you everything. In fact, that might be the most important thing you build. We'll be back soon with more conversations like this. Take care of yourselves.